Streaming live across the country, tackling the topics everyone is talking about online. Share, engage, and interact. This is Newsfeed Now.
Good Wednesday morning, everyone. We have made it to hump day. Normally, the good news is we're halfway through the work week, but here in our wonderful studio, you can see we are overcoming some humps ourselves here. We are having some severe weather in Little Rock where we stream from. So we're in a different studio, but we'll be back in our other one tomorrow. And that's one of the things we're going to be talking about today is the severe weather that right now is sweeping across the southern states. And what about this? It's a story about a fight over a stimulus check that we're told turned deadly. And this may surprise you, hacking a homecoming vote. Ever heard of it? Well, it allegedly happened. We got a lot going on today, but of course we want to start with that severe weather we've been talking about. A lot of people in the south waking up this morning to lightning, thunder, some places hail, even a possibility of tornadic activity. A high risk has been sent out, and we do want to bring in one of our meteorologists who's been working hard to cover this. Kristen Kennedy joining us now from Little Rock, Arkansas. And Kristen, you have been up since the early hours of the morning tracking this. What have you found in Arkansas and what is happening?
Yeah, well, we've been watching this line of storms. In fact, earlier this morning, we actually had some discrete cells come in that did pose the threat of large hail as well as damaging wind gusts. And we've already had one tornado warning issued here in southeast Arkansas. That was around 5:30 in the morning. Since then, it's been relatively quiet, but our threat for severe weather is going to continue into the afternoon hours. I'll show you a look at the latest radar right now. You can see this large storm system coming in all across the mid-south and now making its way into the southeast. Here in Arkansas, we are watching the line. Currently, there is no severe threat at this time. However, any of these storms could still turn severe, especially in northeast as well as southwest Arkansas. And we did have one severe thunderstorm warning, but it was allowed to expire for southwest Arkansas. Meanwhile, those watches, the severe thunderstorm watch for southwest Arkansas has been allowed to expire. It was until 10 a.m. It's now past 10 a.m., so that should be an issue. But for central as well as east and far south Arkansas, a tornado watch will continue until 1 o'clock. And it's this first round of storms that we have coming in, but there's the potential to see some more storms into the afternoon. As Hillary has mentioned, we do have a high risk on the map for far southeast Arkansas. That does include other locations like northeast Louisiana, as well as much of central Mississippi. It's the first time we've seen a high risk on the map for Arkansas since April 27, 2014, when we had an EF4 tornado come through and hit Mayflower as well as Vilonia. And it's actually also the first high risk on the map for Mississippi, also in 7 years. So a pretty rare event. These high risk warnings don't really get issued very often. So everyone in this area should be taking any storms that do develop today very seriously. And you can see here that we do have the high risk for large hail as well as high winds for much of Arkansas. And we can't completely rule out the tornado formation threat as well. Here's a look at our significant tornado risk for the state of Arkansas. Notice it does extend further off towards the east as well as southeast into Mississippi, parts of Tennessee, Alabama, as well as Louisiana. This is the 10% risk of an EF2 or stronger tornado. EF2 tornado is pretty strong. Anything above that is also going to be violent and dangerous. And while 10% doesn't sound like much, trust me, it's pretty significant anytime this shows up on your map. Here's a look at the severe risk across the southeast for Wednesday. Again, it's not just Arkansas that has the concern for severe weather. It does include Louisiana, Mississippi, southwestern Tennessee, and much of central Alabama, with those storms tracking further off towards the east as we continue throughout the morning and especially by the afternoon hours. So our forecast track here is going to show you what we're experiencing pretty on par for this time of morning. I know it says 9 o'clock here, it's 10:30 now, but those storms are making their way through central Arkansas. By around lunchtime, they'll be pushing out of the state. Keep in mind, this is just our first round of storms. However, by the early to mid-afternoon hours, we're likely going to see a cluster of storms to even isolated storms developing in Arkansas that could lead to a higher threat for tornadoes, especially if we have a break in activity between the early afternoon and mid-afternoon hours, with daytime heating starting to occur, plus the front itself actually coming in. That could result in individual cells that have a higher threat for not only damaging winds, but also tornadoes. Now, if you look down towards the southeast at that time, by around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, storms from this morning will be pushing into Mississippi as well as Alabama And the threats continue to be the same there all across the southeast. All modes of severe weather will be possible, including tornadoes, large hail, and damaging winds. And we are going to see this continue even across parts of Georgia as well as the coastal Carolinas overnight tonight through tomorrow morning. And I do believe they also have a moderate risk, which was a level 4 out of 5 red on the map, through parts of central and east Georgia, extending into South Carolina. So no matter where you are across the southeast today, it's very important that you do stay weather aware. Of course, trust your local meteorologist, as we'll all be working very hard to keep you safe, and always have a severe weather safety plan and get ready to use it when a warning is issued.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Kristen. Like she said, make sure you are staying weather aware. This website you're watching this on right now has all the up-to-date weather information. And please charge your phone. We can't say it enough. You want to be able to have that resource. Kristen Kennedy out of Little Rock, Arkansas. Definitely a lot of our Mets in the South are going to be staying very busy. But we want to stick in the South. On to some developing news out of Georgia. You've probably been following this morning or saw it last night. Authorities say 8 people, including 6 women of Asian descent, were killed in a string of shootings at massage parlors in the Atlanta area. Here's what we know right now. 21-year-old Robert Allen Long was taken into custody in Southwest Georgia hours after a manhunt. Law enforcement in Cherokee County say 5 people were shot around 5 p.m. at a massage parlor that was about 30 miles outside of North Atlanta. 2 of the victims were dead and 3 were transported to a hospital where 2 of them also died. A Cherokee County Sheriff's Office spokesperson told us this, and about an hour later, police officers responded to a robbery in progress at a spa in Buckhead, that's in Atlanta. Officers found 3 other women shot dead. While they were at that scene, they learned of another call of shots across the street at another spa. This is something they're continuing to investigate, trying to find a motive, trying to find the reason behind this. Atlanta police say they are, of course, increasing patrols around that area. And moving on, family members say an argument over a stimulus check actually led to 4 people dead inside of a home in Indianapolis Saturday. The saddest part of this, among those, a 7-year-old girl. The suspect is now in jail, but Russ McQuaid sat down with that grieving family and has more for us.
When SWAT team officers found Malik Halfacre hiding inside the attic of a house on the east side Sunday afternoon, the family of his alleged victims tells me it was 24 hours short of the moment he walked into this house and demanded money from Genetrius Moore, the mother of his child.
He wanted some of Genetrius's tax money and stimulus money. She had just got her money and he wanted half of her money. She said, "No, you don't deserve any of this. I work, I take care of our child, you don't do anything."
Inside the house were Genetrius's mother, Tamika Brown, her brother, Daquan Moore, her cousin, Anthony Johnson, and her daughter, Eve Moore.
Daquan was trying to save his sister. He was taking up for his sister. He stood up and said, she said, "You cannot have the money. You cannot have her money." That's what she said. And pushed Malik. And Malik pulled out the gun and just started killing everybody.
Genetrius Moore told her family she was shot but escaped after Halfacre reportedly put their baby in the car and prepared to drive away. The baby was later recovered unharmed. The family said Genetrius feared Halfacre and knew he carried a gun.
She was afraid to leave this man because she knew that he would come back and kill her. He had threatened her numerous times, put sugar in her tank, slashed her tires, shot up her car. You know what I mean? She lived in fear with this man.
And in the end, with so much lost, all the survivors have is each other.
It's always about family here. You can't take that for granted.
This is a story a lot of parents are watching right now, the vaccinations as they roll out. And we do know Moderna now is enrolling children, 6,000 children between 6 months and 12 years old in a COVID-19 vaccine trial. They want to see if it's going to work on kids. And some parents, as you can imagine, maybe you're one of them, can't make up their mind. Do I want to get my child vaccinated? Is it safe? Well, Tess Bargerberg actually spoke with some parents about the clinical trial and what they think. Take a listen.
I think a lot of it is going to be time and more information about the possible long-term side effects.
If they, put the research out there and make it more readily available for the kids, then, I want them to have that same comfort level.
We spoke to the father of 12-year-old Caleb Chung, who is currently in a vaccine study at Duke Hospital in Durham.
I was definitely proud. I think it's a courageous thing to do, and this is, front and center.
Caleb chose to take part in the hospital's Pfizer vaccine trial, getting his first shot just before Christmas last year.
And he's done well with it. He had some initial symptoms after the first dose and then a few more after the second, but those were really short-lived, and he's doing some follow-up study visits with some nasal swabs and blood samples and that sort of thing.
Dr. Richard Chung is also a pediatrician and says parents are asking him about access to the vaccine for their children.
Kids are a full quarter of our population in the United States. And so if we want to get to a large enough proportion of our community being immune so we can decrease spread and move out of this pandemic state, kids are going to have to be a part of that.
Of course, that's a story we're going to continue to follow, but let's talk about COVID-19 and kids, just like that story was talking about. A Virginia boy is now fighting for his life after what started as stomach pain. His parents thought he had COVID, knew he had COVID, so they took him to a local hospital. His name is Xavier Norris, and here's the thing, it wasn't just COVID-19. He was taken to a hospital in late January because of stomach pain. His mom suspected COVID-19, like I said, and those doctors confirmed it. He recovered from the virus, had no complaints, but then in mid-February, Xavier noticed something weird. He noticed blood in his urine, and in a matter of hours, he was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer on his left kidney and a tumor the size of a grapefruit. Just a few years ago, here's the thing, his family opened up a lemonade stand to raise money for the exact hospital Xavier's now a patient at.
We are going to be okay. I knew at this point they took on my son as one of theirs. We did the lemonade stand for CHKD. When life gives you lemons, we make lemonade. Now we're making our own lemonade.
They truly are making lemonade, and community members also helping to step up in Xavier's fight. His church family is sponsoring a cancer awareness march that is set for Saturday. And this is an odd one. This one's out of Florida. You may not be surprised because Florida has some odd things happen. But a mother-daughter duo was arrested. Here's what for. They were accused of rigging last fall's homecoming queen vote. And the girl won. And so here's the thing. Investigators are now looking into it. They believe that they had access to hundreds of students' accounts because the mother is actually an employee of the school. Investigators say she and her daughter manipulated that computer-based voting system. Cody Long looked into this for us and spoke to students and, of course, the staff at the high school about this.
The Florida Department of Law Enforcement arrested 50-year-old Laura Carroll, an assistant principal at Bellevue Elementary School. Her 17-year-old daughter goes to Tate High School, and because she's a minor, we're not releasing her name. The mother-daughter duo is accused of accessing student focus accounts after hundreds of votes for Tate High's homecoming court were flagged as fraudulent. 117 votes came from the same IP address in a short span of time, and the daughter eventually was crowned homecoming queen. FDLE says students reported that the daughter described using her mother's focus account to cast the votes. One girl who was on the homecoming court is staying positive about it all. She talked to me about it, but we're not revealing her real voice, her face, or her name.
I feel like there needs to be a positive side addressed to the situation. I personally know the student, and I don't think the situation should define her. I don't wish bad upon anyone, and I don't wish the situation on anyone. We are all high school students, and we all make mistakes. I do feel this is unfair for many people, and I feel bad for multiple students that were put in this situation.
I didn't know homecoming was that serious. But okay, that's a story we'll continue to follow to see if that truly did happen. But before we go, I want to leave you with something pretty awesome. I want you to get a good look at your screen because this photo, look at that, guys. This is a 1 in a million shot captured by a photographer in my home state of Florida. A manta ray leaps out of the water as a surfer catches a wave, and Rusty Escattle snapped this picture. The photo is at Satellite Beach in Brevard County, that's near Miami, and he didn't even realize the manta ray was in there when he was capturing the photo. As you can imagine, one like that has received lots of likes, lots of shares, I don't want to be near that manta ray. I'm scared to surf now, and I'm from Florida. But guys, thanks so much for joining us. I would say same place and same time, but actually we're going to be back in our old place at the same time. So I hope you join us right back here tomorrow for another dose of Newsfeed. Now we'll take a look at all your trending stories. Make it a great Wednesday and stay safe if you are in some of those dangerous weather areas.